Hello and welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Adam Cellini. Topping our news tonight as the State Fire Marshal's office continues its investigation into a fatal fire in Venice. We're now learning more about the daring attempts that neighbors made to try and save that victim. ABC 7's Erica Jackson spoke with several people in that community today and joins us live from Venice with more. Erica?
Thank you, Adam. Neighbors tell us that only one person lived inside of this house behind me, and despite their best efforts, that person did not make it out alive. And I'll let you see that all that's left of this home are a couple broken pieces and some burnt wood. If you look from the back of the home, you can see all the way through to the other side. Neighbors tell us that's where a Good Samaritan crawled through during the blaze, trying to save the victim. This neighbor had firefighter training, but had trouble reaching the victim. However, he apparently was able to communicate with him before he died. Another neighbor tried entering the home through the front door but couldn't get through the growing smoke. He's still trying to cope with the loss of his neighbor and tells us his role as a fire service technician at Alliance Fire and Safety is what gave him the courage to get involved.
After I used about 50 pounds of extinguisher powder, I saw that it wasn't doing nothing and it got up in the rafters, and I knew about at that time it was just too big to take on.
Sarasota County firefighters arrived shortly after, but they weren't able to save the man. Coming up tonight at 11, we'll show you how neighbors tried to change his fate, even by putting their own lives in danger. Adam.
All right, Erica, thank you very much. In other news, we have the results of Mote Marine Laboratories Lionfish Derby, and it shows that the number of invasive fish pulled from the Gulf is double last year's count. 15 teams went out, which is more than last year, capturing 1,079 lionfish. The largest weighed in at 411, the largest measured out at 411 millimeters. A Mote official says the amount of the invasive species captured along with the event turnout is a good sign that people in our area are becoming more aware of the threat lionfish pose on the local ecosystem and are doing their part to help protect our native marine life.
Two things you remember is try not to get stung because the venomous spines will hurt a lot. So managing them on the water is a little bit tricky, but it's a great dive. The visibility is great. There's a lot of other fish around you checking out what you're doing. It's great.
I'm excited to see how many we got collectively, all the 14 teams. Yeah, because they're so evasive that it's important that we help eradicate them.
Once the weigh-in was over, arguably the best part of the Derby could begin. Local chefs cooking up the spoils for a sold-out tasting. The winner of that tasting was Chef Steve Phelps from the restaurant Indigenous, who you may have seen cooking up lionfish last week right here in our studios with the Suncoast View. And we don't have any chefs to come in here tonight, but we have the next best thing, and that's Wendy Ross for a first look on our weather. Wendy, how's it looking out there?
Adam, you told me you've had lionfish just recently and you really liked it. That's good. That's good. Well, we are looking at some showers that are taking place offshore, and we also have a few showers well east of I-75 affecting the northeastern sections of Manatee County. And so that's where we are seeing the heaviest thunderstorms right now. They're all lifting on up towards the north, and we also have some showers that are lighter down here around the southern sections of Manatee County, throughout Sarasota County, and then we're seeing very isolated activity once again across parts of Sarasota County moving on towards the north and west. And this is going to be with us now for the next couple of hours. The heaviest rains have still been well to the east, and you can see almost 3 inches of rainfall around Placid Lakes. Other places getting 1.5 inches of rain, and then much lesser amounts throughout the day today. It's just been a very spotty day. We've had showers and thunderstorms move on through, but for the most part, it hasn't left much of an impression here around the area. 87 degrees for us right now, winds out of the west, and we'll let you know what we can expect for the rest of tonight and into tomorrow as well. Adam?
All right, thank you, Wendy. Troopers are on the lookout tonight for the driver of a vehicle involved in a hit-and-run crash that sent one cyclist to the hospital. Around 10 p.m. last night, the Florida Highway Patrol responding to a collision at the intersection of Whitfield Avenue and 15th Street East in Bradenton. A vehicle hit a young Sarasota man on a cycle and then fled the scene. Two witnesses described the vehicle as an older white or silver Ford Taurus with noticeable damage to the windshield. Anyone with information on this case is asked to contact the Florida Highway Patrol at that number listed on your screen. Well, overseas tonight, U.S.-backed forces making key gains against ISIS in Iraq. The country's prime minister saying the government has reclaimed the city of Mosul. ABC's Mark Remillard has more.
Celebrations in the streets of Mosul. Crowds waving the red, white, and black flag of Iraq, claiming a long-awaited win against ISIS. It was hard fought down to the final hours. During the day, airstrikes and the sound of gunfire crackling as families climb through mountains of debris, trying to get to safety. Mothers carrying infants, helping older children through the rubble, fleeing areas long held under siege by the Islamic State. Then, this moment, Iraqi special forces planting the country's flag on the bank of the Tigris River. Troops grabbing the infamous black flag of ISIS and hanging it upside down, a symbol of their triumph over the IS. The Iraqi prime minister traveled to Iraq's second largest city to congratulate his fighters. The operation to retake Mosul, backed by the U.S.-led coalition, began in October. Despite some small holdouts in the old city, ISIS fighters have been pushed out of the area. Mosul's loss, just the latest major setback for the terror group. Mark Remillard, ABC News, New York.
And the next major campaign against ISIS will be in Raqqa, the Islamic State's self-styled capital in Syria. In other news, a newborn beluga whale has died at an Orlando theme park. Shortly after birth, SeaWorld staff noticed that the calf was unusually weak, surfacing briefly before he died. Attempts by the animal care teams to revive that baby whale were unsuccessful. SeaWorld Orlando is currently investigating the cause of death, which they say could take several weeks. The spread of canine flu has some dog owners on alert, and Ocala Park temporarily closing due to a rising concern. Officials say the virus is rarely fatal but highly contagious, and any exposure will likely cause infection. Veterinarians at the University of Florida currently have 21 infected dogs in their care. So far, the outbreak is focused in the northern and central parts of Florida. The park is expected to remain closed for several weeks. An annual charity fundraiser taking place in Lakewood Ranch today, bringing out some star-studded celebrity guests as well. Originally founded as a fundraiser, a fundraiser for a young woman suffering from a brain aneurysm, Samantha's Friends has since expanded within the community to benefit handicapped victims with the assistance of highly trained service canines. The nonprofit partnering with the Southeastern Guide Dogs to help people take back their independence.
You come to a place like Southeastern where for the first time people treat you with dignity and respect, and you're given a gift. You're given a dog, a companion who is your freedom, your independence, and your chance to live life again.
Today's fundraiser featuring celebrity appearances by Days of Our Life stars Walt Willey, Rachel Melvin, Martha Madison, Christopher Sean, and many more. Some of the items auctioned off included autographed scripts, an evening gown, and dinner dates with the cast. Well, still to come here on ABC 7, President Trump returning home after days of meetings overseas, how those meetings will impact America's future actions. And Western fires heating up, the fate of a summer camp that had become trapped after a blaze sparked nearby. Stick around.
Let me introduce you to the ultimate Florida window. Do you feel safer with this or this? You'll be proud too.
Going on now. For every 2 windows you buy, get 1 more free. Call today.
Just go do it. Go do it.
If you're not in control, then who is? Live above the influence.
ABC 7, My Suncoast News. We're here for you. Watch My Suncoast News wherever you are on our live stream, on our newly redesigned mysuncoast.com and a brand new ABC7 My Suncoast app powered by the Eye Associates, providing sight for life, featuring traffic maps and live radar, and dining with recipes and all the hottest Suncoast restaurants. Visit mysuncoast.com and click on the mobile tab to download the ABC7 My Suncoast app for iOS and Android.
This is an important medical announcement. Bard IVC filters have been linked to punctured veins and problems with migration. Anyone who's received a Bard IVC filter must receive medical monitoring and may be entitled to substantial compensation. If you have the Bard Recovery G2 or G2 Express filter, you are in a class of patients who should be compensated for some expenses. Call now for a free assessment of your case and potential money damages. This call is confidential. There's no cost and you may be eligible. Juries have awarded millions of dollars to people who should have been warned about the risks of the Bard IVC filters. Call the IVC Filter Hotline if you or a loved one has received an IVC filter and experienced a vein puncture or required medical monitoring. You must call now.
Call 800-329-3089. 800-329-3089.
Every child follows a path in life. For many, that path will lead them to a door that gives them a place to grow, to learn, to belong, a place to forge their future. Because while many doors open, these doors transform. They did for us. Support your local Boys and Girls Clubs. Great futures start here.
Welcome back. President Trump is back in the country from the G20 summit to headlines that people in his inner circle had a meeting with a Russian lawyer last year before the election to discuss information concerning the DNC and Hillary Clinton. ABC's Gloria Riviera is in Washington with more.
The president is back in the U.S. and the White House out in force, defending his big meeting with Russian President Vladimir Putin.
The president absolutely did not believe the denial of President Putin.
Chief of Staff Reince Priebus disputing claims from Putin and his team that President Trump accepted their stance that Russia did not meddle in the 2016 election. Putin on the record saying it seemed to me that he took it into account and agreed. Now the president himself tweeting, I strongly pressed President Putin twice about Russian meddling in our election. He vehemently denied it. I've already given my opinion.
Yes, it's time to move forward, but there has to be a price to pay.
Another point of discussion earning criticism, Trump and Putin saying they may create a joint cybersecurity unit to prevent further election hacking.
It's not the dumbest idea I've ever heard, but it's pretty close. But when it comes to Russia, he's got a blind spot.
We might as well just mail our ballot boxes to Moscow. I don't think that's an answer at all.
Also greeting President Trump upon his return, the New York Times reporting that the president's son, Don Jr., his son-in-law, Jared Kushner, and former campaign chairman Paul Manafort met with a Russian lawyer who has ties to the Kremlin during a meeting at Trump Tower during the height of the 2016 campaign. In an updated statement, Don Jr. tells ABC News he was invited to the meeting by an acquaintance to meet someone who might have information helpful to the Trump campaign. I asked Jared and Paul to attend but told them nothing of the substance. The woman stated that she had information that individuals connected to Russia were funding the Democratic National Committee and supporting Mrs. Clinton. Her statements were vague, ambiguous, and made no sense. It quickly became clear that she had no meaningful information. Gloria Riviera, ABC News, Washington.
Another Middle Eastern airline has joined the growing list of surrounding countries that are lifting their bans on laptops aboard U.S.-bound flights. Royal Jordanian saying Sunday that they have implemented enhanced security measures that are in line with the U.S. Department of Homeland Security requirements. However, the airline did not provide details on what those new measures may be. In March, the U.S. imposed a ban on laptops in airplane cabins on direct U.S.-bound flights from 10 cities in the Middle East and Turkey over concern that Islamic State fighters and other extremists could hide bombs inside those laptops. Royal Jordanian operates 16 weekly nonstop flights to Chicago, New York, and Detroit. Well, firefighters from all over the country are battling over 40 major wildfires in western states from California to Montana. Those blazes destroying structures, closing down State Route 154 and forcing evacuations. And so unfortunately, even trapping some children and counselors at a summer camp. Officials saying a wildfire in Santa Barbara County that popped up on Saturday had spread to both sides of Highway 154, trapping about 90 children and 50 counselors at the Circle V Ranch. The campers taking shelter until they could be safely evacuated. And they are in our thoughts and prayers certainly moving forward. Those fires are a real force of nature when you can tell by the footage up there. So we're hoping the best for them.
Oh my, it's just frightening, isn't it, to see all of that? It's just frightening. Well, we are seeing some showers and thunderstorms around, but they're so widely scattered. It's not a blanket effect at all. And even when we look outside right now, if you're looking out towards the Gulf of Mexico, we do have some showers out there, but for the most part, we're looking at fair skies across the region and very hot temperatures still in the upper 80s at this hour, and it's almost 7 o'clock and it's still just very, very hot outside. So today's high temperatures at the beaches, of course, we were a little bit cooler. You can see those readings all the way down, straight down through to Englewood in the upper 80s. And then as soon as we get on to the east of I-75, we're looking at temperatures that are just slightly warmer, but a little bit better than they were yesterday when we saw those highs around 91 to 93 degrees. So today, officially at the airport, 88 is the daytime high, 74 the overnight low. This is where we're supposed to be, so just a little bit cooler than normal. So that's a nice thing to say right here in July, that we're experiencing cooler than normal, but it doesn't feel that way. This is what it feels like instead. This is the heat index right now. So if you walk outside at this point, you go, man, it's hot out there. This is the reason why it feels like it's 96 on Longboat, 95 on Siesta Key, temperatures in the 90s in Bradenton, Sarasota, and Venice. That's what it feels like. And then you get the rain. And with the rain, you really cool off. Wauchula, 79 is what it feels like right now because they're getting some good strong thunderstorms at this hour. And those showers will continue to move on up towards the north and west, and the actual temperatures at this point are mostly in the 80s. So it does feel it is actually a lot better than it feels at this point. Currently it's 87 degrees. Our humidity is high. The dew point is as well. Winds are coming in out of the west at around 7 miles per hour. Fair skies for us, especially if you're around the beaches, but we are looking at these pockets of rain. They're diminishing as they continue to move on towards the north and west. So we're not experiencing a very difficult night tonight. We don't have a whole lot of rain out here in the Gulf. That's all been moving away, and we're not expecting to see anything developing for the overnight time period for us along the west coast. Most of the showers are going to stay over the central part of the state and continue to lift on up towards the north, and we're going to get a mixture of clouds and sun and clear skies over the next couple of hours. So that's what we're going to be experiencing. And then by tomorrow morning, we're going to see fair skies at around 8 o'clock in the morning. The showers that we did have will stay out in the Gulf of Mexico, and we're not going to see the rains back in our forecast until the latter part of the day is when we'll experience most of those showers. And we're going to be getting a 20% chance of rain until about midnight, and then up and down 10 to 20% throughout the overnight time period. But for the most part, we're not going to see a whole lot in the way of rainfall. High pressure is sitting out here in the Gulf of Mexico. It's going to stay put for the most part, but it's starting to drift a little bit towards the west. And then we have a frontal system across the southeastern part of the country that is really on its way out with that low pressure system riding it off towards the north and east. The tropics are quiet. We have the remnants of Tropical Depression number 4. This is a system we're watching because as it continues to move towards the west, it will probably provide us with better chances of rain over towards the end of this upcoming week. So Thursday and Friday, we could see some better chances, maybe up to a 60% chance of rain as a result of that coming on through. Winds will be out of the southeast and then shift around to the south during the latter part of the day at 10 knots, seas 1 to 2 feet, a light chop out on the bay and inland waters. The Gulf water temperature is finally warm enough for me to get in, 90 degrees, 89 if you're heading out to the beach tomorrow. And of course, make sure you take plenty of sunblock because we're looking at a UV index of 10. Isolated showers and moving towards the coast for tonight. Those are really pretty much dying out at this point. And over the next several days, a 40 to 50% chance of rain. And then on Friday, as a result of that system that could be moving across near the coast, we could see a 60% chance of showers for us. Adam?
Now, sports.
Maybe that weather held off just long enough for the Dig the Beach volleyball series, which was on Siesta Key all weekend. Hundreds of teams, a mix of pros, amateurs, and juniors hitting the sand for that two-day tournament. Teams are made up of 2 players, including some co-ed duos, and each year the tournament makes 8 stops throughout Florida, and it won't be back in Siesta until next May. The tournament is completely free to watch, and players say there's much more there than maybe meets the eye.
It's very intellectual, actually, because you have to think about it. You have to think about what play you should do, where you should put that ball, where they're standing on the court, what you should do. And it's just fun because you can do whatever you want, basically.
According to the tournament's website, the Dig the Beach series is the longest standing and largest series of its kind in the United States. The Rays taking the field one last time before the All-Star break with a chance to win their 4-game home series against Boston. Chris Archer starting Sunday. He'll be in Miami this week for that All-Star game, along with Mookie Betts, who is starting in the outfield for the American League, and he starts this game off with a home run off of Archer. But Evan Longoria able to erase that lead right away with an RBI single off his former teammate David Price. That'll score Steven Souza Jr. Then later in the 4th inning, it's Souza Jr. getting it done in right field with the glove. Look at him go kamikaze towards the wall there for a spectacular diving grab, able to hold Boston's runners at first and second. Then tied at 3 in the 8th, Brad Miller, back from the disabled list, delivers the go-ahead 2-run homer off Joe Kelly. Rays win 5-3. They enter the All-Star break with a 47-43 record, a 13-win improvement from last season, and they are now 3.5 games behind the Red Sox. MMA fighter Amanda Nunes is taking heat from UFC President Dana White after pulling out of UFC 213 last night, just hours before her main event match. Sunday, Nunes telling fans on social media what illness kept her from fighting, saying she felt out of breath and off balance from pressure in her sinuses. Both White and her opponent, Valentina Shevchenko, criticized Nunes for forcing the UFC to scrap their main event at the last minute. White says he will not be booking the reigning bantamweight champion as a main event in the future. More to come here on ABC 7. Stay with us.
Monday at 5 on ABC 7's Good Morning Suncoast.
Hi, I'm Ray Collins. New research suggests that chocolate can increase your cognitive skills. We'll tell you why having a little cocoa in your diet could do you some long-term good. That's Monday on Good Morning Suncoast. John?
We're watching increasing chances of rainfall as we head into the new work week. We'll talk about that and give you an idea of what to expect bright and early.
Monday at 5 on ABC 7's Good Morning Suncoast. We're here for you.
For more than 100 years, American Humane Association has been teaching kids to be kind to animals. Those in our homes, on the farms, on the silver screen, and wildlife conservation, caring for the world's vanishing creatures. But we can't do it alone. Visit kindness100.org to find ways to teach kids how they can make a more caring, compassionate, and humane world for all of us.
Monday at 4 on Suncoast View.
New buildings are popping up all over. I'm Stephanie Roberts on Suncoast View. Look at the latest from our development expert about new construction projects here on the Suncoast. It is summer storm season, and that can be stressful for our pets. Canine Corral is here with natural solutions, plus everything you've ever wondered about emojis. And Simply Gourmet Catering joins us in the kitchen.
Monday at 4 on Suncoast View.
If you want 24/7 access to ABC 7's breaking news stories, weather forecasts, traffic alerts, health reports, Suncoast View, and more ABC 7 programming, now there's good news. Introducing the free ABC 7 channel on Amazon Fire TV. Your 24/7 access to ABC 7. Just search ABC 7 on the streaming device and download the free ABC 7 channel app. Or if you don't have an Amazon Fire TV, you can get one at Amazon.com. Stay connected to your clients and new customers using ABC 7 Digital Media Services. Our team of professionals provide a wide array of digital services to help you get the most out of your website. We specialize in building and helping you maintain the most effective digital solutions for your business. It's vital that your online presence stands out, so our experts will equip you with the best resources available. Trust ABC 7 Digital Media Services to give you the right tools to grow your business.
This is the story of a boy who was very sensitive to lights and sounds. So he built secret hiding places where nothing could get in. The boy didn't like looking people in the eye. It made him feel uncomfortable. One day, he found out he had something called autism. His family got him help, and slowly, he learned how to live with it better.
Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org.
Start your day with a new Good Morning Suncoast team. Weekdays starting at 5 a.m.
Spider-Man is back in theaters with a bang. The latest film in the Marvel series, Spider-Man Homecoming, dominating the box office with a $117 million domestic debut. And fans in MovieBus seem to be taking it all in. At last check, the film had a 93% critic rating on Rotten Tomatoes, earning a quote A cinema score. Its earnings this weekend are the second largest in Sony Pictures history, behind Spider-Man 3. Two other familiar films made it to the box office top 3 this week. Despicable Me 3 coming in at number 2, and Baby Driver moving in to number 3. And that is despite our director, Rob Waterworth, telling me a friend of a friend thought Spider-Man wasn't good.
Oh, you're kidding.
Yeah, I bet you're feeling pretty silly now, Robert. Seems to be doing just fine.
I want to go see it.
Yeah,
I want
me
to
too.
go see it.
I
Yeah,
really
that
do
looks
wanna
like
see it.
fun. That does look like fun. I like those kind of movies.
Sure.
I've seen the other ones, and they were all good. I like the Iron Man. I like that
Marvel
Spider-Man.
rarely misses on these movies. But I do have a question. As just an adult, can I go see Despicable Me 3 by myself?
Oh,
Is that
yes,
okay?
you should.
All right.
You should. All by yourself.
All right. Or you and I could go together, maybe.
That sounds
a little
good, too.
easier.
There was this big bruise on my friend's face. I didn't want to see it. I didn't want to think her own nephew could have hit her.
I didn't want to see it. My mother's bank account was emptied, and a caregiver had taken control of it.
I didn't want to see it. My father's refrigerator. There was hardly anything in it. That's unusual for him.
It's tough to see that a senior citizen is being abused, physically, emotionally, sexually, or financially. Elder abuse is a crime.
So see the signs, stop the crimes.